Hello, everyone. Welcome to this exquisite section. How was your day? I believe you had a wonderful day. I did. I had enough rest today. So, today we're going to be talking about communication, listening, communication. We started a series on communication. Today we'll be talking about listening is the real skill. Listening is the real skill. A lot of people don't know that listening is the real skill. Everybody just want to talk, all right? However, no one is willing to listen. If you understand what listening is, you will know how listening can make you earn fortune. Yeah. The therapists you see today, a lot of people, consultants, they are people who are willing to listen. A lot of people don't want to listen today. So everyone wants to be heard. However, not everyone wants to listen. Yeah, I can tell you, I want to be heard. You want to be heard. A lot of people want to be heard. However, not everyone wants to listen. So instead of going for the one that everyone wants to do, you do the one that people don't want to. That would earn you great fortune, great relationships, great friends around you. It will make you someone who is valuable. Being heard is the need of man. Being heard is a need of man. People want to be heard. Now imagine if you can give that. Sometimes when people are talking, before you finish what you're saying, someone is already saying something, and you're like, no, that's not what I want to say. And sometimes you just go with the flow, but after everything, you just realize that you didn't say nothing. You felt unheard. You felt that nobody heard you. And before you know, you begin to feel this resentment towards the person. You're just like, she doesn't listen. She never understands. A lot of relationship today has gone sour because of this thing. Parents not listening to their children not listening to their parents, husbands not listening to their wives not listening to their husbands. Church, you can find it everywhere. So it's a skill. How will you develop it if you don't understand that it is a skill? You have to develop it. You have to become skilled at listening. It's a skill because everyone just want to chat, just want to talk. They don't want to listen. No one is listening to no one. We're just talking. No. So if you have the skill, notice people who have the skill of listening. People are drawn towards them. People who have the skill of listening, people are drawn towards them because they can listen. So someone would say, what will listening do for me? Listening is going to do you a lot of good. You being able to listen to people. And when you are able to listen to people, people will learn also to listen to you. You'll be the most respected in the room. So it is very important you master the skill of listening. Listening gives you understanding. Listening prevents misunderstanding. Listening builds trust. Listening shows respect. Listening helps you respond wisely. So are you someone that listens, or are you someone that just want to talk? Which one are you? Don't be happy when everyone says she talks a lot. Don't. Be happy when people say she listens. She listens, not just following what they are saying, but you are able to hear people. A lot of people, they just want to be the one chatting. It is not good. You're draining yourself. You're actually draining yourself because it's energy. You give energy when you talk. When you're always the one talking, you are drained. That's why a lot of I heard of a story, not a story, my husband told me. One time his friend or colleague killed himself. And everybody was shocked. They were like, wow, but this guy seems to be the the one that makes everything, the one that make the place happen, the happening one, the one that makes everyone laugh. So nobody knew that he had challenges. Nobody knew he was going through things because he's the one that is always making people laugh. He's the one that is always chatting. He's the one that is always talking. He's the one that is always speaking. So no one expected him to just kill himself, to commit suicide. So you have to understand that you being the one always talking doesn't say well of you. It is good to talk, but are you talking with sense? Are you listening? Do you listen? Do you just hear something and then you just start talking? No. Do you listen? Do you pay attention? Now, when we talk about listening as a skill, you listening to something doesn't mean that you agree with everything they are saying. You listening to something, you listening to someone doesn't mean you are agreeing. For instance, I could be listening to you, but I'm not totally agreeing with what you're saying, but I'm being empathic listening to you because I value your voice. I value what you're saying. So I'm listening. At the end of the day, that doesn't mean I agree. And the only time you're going to know what my thought is when you ask me, what do you think? Can you see why you should not just be talking? A lot of people just start talking. And when they are talking, they just begin to give this talk. They're talking. At the end of the day, they don't ask the person, what do you think, to know what the person is thinking. They just feel, oh, she heard me. He heard me. No, that's not all about it. That's not all about it. You have to hear what the person has to say to know the person's opinion. So it is good to listen. However, when you have listened and the person is interested in what you have to say, the person is going to ask you, what do you think? That's how you should do. So whilst you're talking, also try to listen to the person you are talking to. Otherwise, they're going to resent you because everyone wants to be heard. Everyone wants to be heard. For you to make sure that you speak and be heard, and someone speak and they also feel heard, you need to always ask that question. What do you think? You need to always ask that question. Don't be someone who just talk, especially when you're chatting with someone personally. You just talk, and you just go. No. You ask, after talking, what do you think? Because some persons might just be listening to you. Of course, it has happened a million times to me. It has happened and it keeps happening, even to some people as well. They just talk. After talking, you feel, oh, this person was nodding. This person was saying, yeah. The person was just being empathic by listening to you. But you never heard what the person had to say. You never heard. And you were done with the conversation. The person just listened and filtered everything you said. because the person is concerned, the person respects you. But for you to have a successful communication or understanding, you need to ask the person, what do you think? Feedback. What do you think? And then the person will tell you, this is what I think. Well, I think you have a point there. However, if you would do it this way, or I think if we can try this because this happened to me, the person is going to share. And then you have a successful communication where the person will not want to resent you the next time you are coming to talk to them. Have you seen people when they're coming to talk? People are running away because they know they are not going to be heard. I've experienced that from even a close family. When you're talking to the person is just talking. The person doesn't want to listen to what you're saying. Okay, you're done. The person is talking and you're listening. After everything, the person just goes. The person doesn't bother to hear from you. It is very disrespectful. It is very disrespectful to be having a personal conversation with someone and you don't wait to listen to what the person has to say. The person will not listen to you the next time. That's true because there is an after effect. There is an after effect after you have said all what you want to say. There is always an after effect. So the after effect might come as, oh, this person just said everything they want. They didn't bother to listen to me. Next time, I won't listen to them. Or this person said something and they listened to me. I felt good because I was also heard. So this is how you communicate. This is how you build trust. You build relationship. This is how people will want to hear you. A lot of people don't want to hear them today because all they do is all about them. They don't want to hear you. I just want to say my mind. You don't want the other person. It's all about, so the other person is a ghost or the other person doesn't deserve to be heard. I just want to say my mind. Whilst you're saying your mind, be ready for the other person to say their mind because they're humans as well. Except the person doesn't have what to say. The person, no, I agree with you. But if the person disagrees, it is normal. Do you know that some persons cannot take disagreement? The moment they disagree with you, they hate you. They don't love you anymore. Some persons will feel this person doesn't like me, always disagreeing with me. Yeah, you are a human and you cannot have correct opinions all the time. No, give yourself peace, give yourself grace by telling yourself that sometimes they might agree, sometimes they don't have to agree. Why do you want people to agree with you every single time? Why? That is abnormal. That is chaotic. You cannot want people to agree with you every single time. And by the time they don't agree with you, they don't like you. No. 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 1,000 times no. You should expect people to agree with you and sometimes not to agree with you. However, in communicating your disagreement, you have to, first of all, acknowledge the person. Because a lot of people, when they don't want to agree with you, they just say, no, that is very disrespectful. You have to, first of all, acknowledge the person by saying, oh, yeah, what you've said makes a whole lot of sense. Yeah, you've made a point there. However, I think, then you go ahead with your disagreement. You don't just cut people off just because you don't agree with them. That is disrespectful. And no one likes to be disrespected. Just because someone is saying something like, I think um I think wearing a gown is more beautiful than wearing a shirt, and you don't agree, then you say, no, 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 before the person finishes. That is very disrespectful. You might not agree with the person. All you have to do is to say, well, I get your point. Gown, yeah, gown looks good. However, for me, I feel like that way you have acknowledged the person's reality, the person's thought. Do you know in the world today, they have so many belief. You hear Aristotle, you hear Socrates, you hear different people with different beliefs, and they are all correct. They are all correct. So why would you just shut someone down just because you don't think like them? That's why people run away from you. That's why they don't want to talk with you. That's why no one is listening to you anymore, because you don't listen. You just want your view to be the most important view in the room. No, people are going to continue to see things differently. People are going to continue to see things differently. It has been and is going to continue to be. So, for people to hear you, for you to be heard, you need to first of all acknowledge the person's point of view. It doesn't matter if it's nonsense. You are the one feeling it's nonsense. Absolutely. To them, they are making sense. Someone can even tell you that, I think stealing is better than working. Yeah, they could do that. What you have to do at that moment, for some persons, their emotions begin to erupt because that is not their standard. That for them is immoral. That for them is not right, which is absolutely. It is not right to say stealing is better than working. But would you acknowledge the person's point of view first before saying, I understand you that stealing is easier than working. However, I feel that a lot of people who steal get killed, get murdered, end up in prison. You start giving your own point of view. However, you've made the person feel heard, even when the person is wrong. Are we saying that listening is you agreeing with things that are wrong? No, 1,000 times no. Thank you for joining, all of you joining. I welcome you. Welcome. I really appreciate you. Are we saying that everything that someone says is correct when you listen? No. Have you ever been in a situation where you're listening to someone and you're just listening? You know that whatever the person is saying, you're not really agreeing with it. Have you been in that situation? Yeah, a lot of times. Yeah. You're just listening to the person. However, you're not agreeing with the person because you just want to listen. So that doesn't mean that you agree, but you listen. And the person is feeling good. And that's because you care. You're listening because you care, but you're not agreeing. If that person is trained like the way you're getting the skill now, the person will say, what do you think? And that brings me to you understanding when to say something and when not to. Do you realize that same person might want to hear you one time and might not want to hear you another time? Same person. There are some days the person is going to say, yeah, what do you have to say? And there are some days they don't want to hear you say anything. So you need to understand emotions. You need to understand when to speak and when not to speak. So how do you do that? You read emotions. Read emotions, not just words. Someone can be talking and they don't want you to say anything. Imagine having that skill when you know when to say something and when you know when to not say anything. It means you have become a person of value. You have become an authority because you can observe. So you read the person's emotions and know that, oh, this person want me to say something. This person doesn't want me to say anything. You read them. When they're talking, you know when the person needs your support and when the person just wants you to hear them out. A lot of times, people just want you to hear them out. They just want you to understand them. However, sometimes they don't want you to, they want you to say something. And some are so smart, they will always say, what do you think? Some will say, I don't just want you to say anything, I just want you to listen to me. But some might not be able to say this. You are the one to read emotions. This will, when you understand when to say something and when not to say, it makes people feel valued. Read them, observe. It makes people feel valued and respected, and people tilt towards where they are valued, where they are heard, where they are respected. You get to solve problems faster. When you speak without listening or you don't listen to people, it makes you feel as though you don't care. It makes you look at someone who is selfish. It's all about you, 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 you. Communication is a two-way process. So you need to pull that at the back of your mind. And if you're not trained towards it, you can't do. What you don't have, you don't have. However, if you start training yourself towards understanding that when I'm speaking to someone and I need that person to speak to me as well. So that that person will feel fulfilled the same way I am fulfilling myself. Sometimes the person might not want to say anything, and it's okay. But be rest assured that that person's own opinion matters as well. You don't just speak as though you are speaking at someone like you're giving a public speech. Once it comes to conversation, you need to hear the person out. Even if you're giving a public speech, you need to know if your audience are understanding you. And sometimes when pastors are preaching, they say, are you there? Can you hear me? They ask questions. This way, you are showing that you value the person's own point of view. You value the person's feedback. And that's where I'm going to ask you, if you have any questions, do write it in the comment section. If you have anything to say, do write it in the comment section. So you need to develop the skill of listening, not just chit-chatting or talking or wanting to be heard. Other people want to be heard just like you. So whatever you give is what you get. If you're wondering why people don't listen to you anymore, it's because you don't listen as well. You don't. So develop the skill of listening to people. Listen to people's feedback, no matter how discomforting it is. Listen. Listen. Before you say something, listen. Always try. Tell yourself, I can listen. I listen. Listen, a lot of talkatives we have now on the internet, everywhere, people are talking. But those who are really gaining are the ones who are listening, who are learning, who are listening. How do you learn? When you listen. So be a good listener, develop the habit. Whilst you're developing yourself on communicating, you need to develop the habit of also listening. It's a skill. It's a skill. And as you practice listening, you get better at it. I hope you've learned something today. I'm going to stop here. We're going to continue our communication series next week, Monday. Do well to follow. Don't forget to like, comment, say something, and ask questions in the comments. And do well to start listening. Tell yourself, when I talk, I should be able to listen. When I talk, I should be willing to listen. When I talk is not all about it. The end part of it is me listening to who I have been speaking with. I'll see you on Monday. Bye for now.